Excellent connection. All right, let's see what happens. I'm going to apologize to my YouTube people. I had to cut you off because my kilobits wasn't together. I had to make sure I was on the right kilobits. So, um, sorry about that, guys. So, what up? What up? Talk to your boy. Today, I want to talk 2020. The coming year is an interesting year for me, and I'm pretty sure it's an interesting year for a lot of people because it's like it's a decade. Like it's 10 years and past, 2 years and past, 20 years and past. Like 20 years ago, jeez, it was 2000. I was 20 years old in 2000. God, wow, 20 years ago, man. It's been 20 years since the millennium hit. So I'm excited about 2020. There's so much going on in 2019. I'm looking forward to 2020. Um, Religious goals, personal goals, everything. How you doing, Loretta? What's going on? I see you on Facebook. Um, I'm gonna be shouting out people who get on. So I am looking at my Facebook feed as well as my um, my Facebook feed as well as my YouTube feed, guys. So just bear with me. I don't want y'all to be like, what is happening? What is happening? Cause this guy is tripping. Okay, I just gotta make sure that was on. I gotta get my social mix thing going on. Connected. Web interface. Let's view. Okay, my Twitter feed is going as well. So if you're on Twitter, please make sure you guys are um, please make sure you guys are logging on and to Facebook, or that's at the Wiley Life on Facebook or the Wiley Life on YouTube to see that stream, because I'm not streaming to Periscope right now. I'm just streaming to two areas. So I'm just kind of excited about 2020. I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Obviously, make sure you're following me on all my social medias. That's at Chris Conscious. You can find that on every social media at Chris Conscious and at the Wiley Life. I have a lot of them. Sorry, and then my radio show, which is at Cipher on the Block. Um, I'm gonna do a lot of my personal blogs and stuff here on the Wiley Life. So like um, like dating Chris, my love lessons. Even though the love lessons is on my radio show, I still do the love lessons as an individual video here on the Wiley Life. I got some content that I'm going to be creating, some skits and stuff that I'm going to be doing soon. So it's going to be awesome. Just random chats too, my random night chats. It's going to be all out fun information. I'm going to get to talk to you guys. I'm going to do more lives like I'm doing now. Um, so a lot of the videos are going to be pre-recorded, so I would appreciate if you guys comment and subscribe and like and share and all that stuff on those videos. But what up, Richard? What's going down on Facebook? I also will, and then on my Chris Conscious, I'm just gonna go back here, losing my thought. On my Chris Conscious one is obviously you guys know that I'm an artist. Most of the people do know that I'm an artist, and I put music on there. I have new music coming out in 2020. I haven't done any music in a while because I've been intently focused on radio and content creating. So, but there's a lot of things in the works right now that I'm working on. So, I'm kind of excited about the new change and the new things that are coming up in 2020 for me. Um, this is not even the brunt of the conversation about 2020. I just want to talk to y'all about what's going on. But I also make sure you're looking at my radio show at speakmusicradio.com. That's another handle I didn't get to mention, which is at Speak Music Radio. Cypher on the Block is featured on Speak Music Radio, and also in the city of Milwaukee is featured on um, 103.1. Sorry, let me get that information right. Boy, something wrong with me. Hold on, let me look at my notes. Sorry, guys, I'm just blanking right now. So it's WPJQ in Milwaukee. So and that's 101.3. I had it backwards, huh? 101.3 FM in Milwaukee. So make sure you are listening to WPJQ 101.3 FM in Milwaukee. You get to hear my show there as well as on Speak Music Radio. If you get the app, with the Tuned In app, you can search Speak Music Radio. You will find our feed there. We play some of the best music in indie, R&B, and gospel, and obviously we play some of the mainstream stuff as well, and the mainstream gospel, mainstream R&B. So, but we do cater intently to independent artists on our show. And if you guys want me to feature your stuff, I'm more of a hip hop guy. So you got some hip hop music you want me to? I don't do um, mainstream hip hop because I don't like the message, and I'm just over pushing drugs, money, and sex to my audience, to my people. You know, it's killing our community. So I'm not really down for that. So what up, Colin? Connie, sorry, gotta read. So I'm not really down for pushing that type of music. But if you want me to feature your music on my show, on my blog, another thing I got going, I got a lot going on. I'm just trying to give y'all all different options to hear my show and hear what I'm doing. I have a blog feed. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on uh, Spotify. If you're on Spotify, LinkedIn, not LinkedIn. Jeez, you can find me on LinkedIn, but tune in. If you go to the podcast section, not the radio section, the podcast section of these apps, iHeart Media, iTunes are the main ones, and Spotify and TuneIn. You can find my podcast, which is Cipher on the Block. You'll hear the whole radio show. It doesn't have any music in it like it does on the radio, but it has my segments and everything you guys can listen to and catch up on what I'm conversing about, and then join in the conversation. And also on YouTube, you can find those same podcasts. They may be broken up into different little videos and stuff like that because obviously they're different topics, and I kind of break it up so it doesn't be so long-winded, because I don't want you guys to get bored of watching me. Um, People got a short attention span, but I'm sorry, you will not get bored with me. I'm crazy. So join in the conversation, share, like, and subscribe. I have ways that you guys can support. Um, this is my 2020, guys. I got to put it out here. This is my 2020. I have ways that you guys can support my radio show. If you go and you like what you hear and what you see, feel free to donate $1. You know, I am right now viewer funded. I don't necessarily have any sponsors. Actually, Anchor helps me with a little sponsors, but it's not much. It is one of those things when people listen, you might get click here or click there into an advertisement or whatever, and they give you a couple cents on top of the dollar or whatever. But I'm mainly funded by you guys who are listening. I got a merch store coming real soon. I have all kind of stuff that I'm coming up with. My fitness get big, you know, being increasingly greater. Because you'll see that on my Wiley Life page, the big moments and stuff like that, where it's kind of like an encouraging word. And a lot of these encouraging words and a lot of these love lessons and my dating Chris stuff, it just coming from my experience. They don't necessarily have to be right or wrong, but you know, it's just what I experienced and what I learned. So I'm always down for critique and down for bettering who I am as a person. So I'm definitely not opposed to that. So I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, you saying something negative, I'm gonna block you. Say all the negative stuff you want. Anthony Mays, what's up? Christian, what up, cuz? Um, Let me make sure I turn up my I hope you guys can hear me now. Sorry. Um, if my volume wasn't loud enough. It should be loud enough now. Um, but so make sure you guys are supporting. Like I take donations. They can be like $1. I don't care. Like my goal is to fund my show completely, and I don't honestly I don't want to be working. The only thing I really want to do is continue working in music and doing this for you guys and bring you guys good news, good content. Because I talk political. I talk about political stuff, guys. Don't get mad at me. My politics is called common sense. I'm Christocratican. That's my politics. Christocratican. I don't do the whole ideal of conservatism. Now, I will say my values are conservative. So some of y'all want to ask. I'm just going to be honest. My values are conservative. I do believe in family. I do believe in freedom of speech, rights to protect yourself, free enterprise. I do believe in that stuff. So it does kind of jive with conservative values. But my politics is completely and utterly non-biased, and I am common sense. So my thing is, I don't get emotional with my politics. So it's not one of those things where when people, especially when we get to having conversations about the most hated president in history right now, which is Trump, people be like, I can't believe you, you know, excuse me. I neither dislike him or like him. I really don't know Donald Trump. I really don't care. Donald Trump to me is Donald Trump. He's always been that way. So I don't, I don't neither like him or dislike him. So if you guys are looking for me to talk about him like that and say I hate him, I don't. I don't dislike people on the Democrat side either, but I do question what people do. You know what has been proven, not what has been said. And that's one thing I want to talk about in another blog. I'm not going to talk about it here, but that one is coming up soon. How this day of politics, how we can just say something without any proof and then swear it's true and swear it's true and keep pushing, and people literally believe that some of the things about this Trump guy is true, and nobody's proven it. As you see with the impeachment, they still haven't found any high crimes. I don't get it, and they're still pushing it. So, but you got people who just swear that. So I'm not sure why that's like that. Why you guys are not getting good volume. I can try to turn some things up. Hopefully that'll work. I don't know, but I'm pretty loud in my ear, so I'm trying to be a little careful. But so hopefully you guys can hear me good. I'm speaking directly in the mic, so I'm extremely loud over here. I don't know how it is, but um, I will say. So that's my politics. I'm going to talk about religious stuff because obviously y'all know I come from a religious family and everything, and um, talking about how our impact in the world. I'm gonna talk about community stuff, and no, I'm not gonna be talking Christian PC with y'all. That's not my goal. My goal is not to preach at you about the Bible, although there will be some. You will see that apparent in my life because I do live by moral principles that come from the Bible, from the scriptures and stuff like that. And not just the Bible, just to be honest, there's some things I've read in the Quran that jive with what I believe. There's some things that I've read in Judaism that jive. So I'm a spiritual person, so I do speak spiritual principles. And I believe that all spirituality comes from one source. It just has a lot of different interpretations. And we call that the Quran, we call that the Holy Bible, we call that whatever. You know, not one person, not one group has it all right, and not one group has it all wrong. So sorry, Christian people, if you guys don't agree with that. Sad for you. So, but I am excited about 2020 because I'm moving in this new direction, and I'm gonna be doing more and more blogs, more and more here and getting you guys the news because I'm really sick of fake news. But I was looking over the last year, and I just I had a lot that happened to me over the last year. So you guys know, 2019. Well, let me say this: 2000. Yeah, it was 2018 and 19 has been a trying year for me, and it's like I'm still sitting here, so and I'm still able to smile, and I'm like, man, God must have worked something in my spirit because whoa, I'm trying to figure out how I'm still standing because there's times where I was like, man, too, if I run off this road, I wouldn't mind dying. I know that doesn't sound right, but I was thinking that way. Um, there was times where I was just like, man, God, would you take me right now? Because this is stupid. As you know, both of my parents died in the last year, and that took me for a loop because they died within a year of each other, and it was a lot, and I had to take care of a lot of the estate. I was there when my mom was in the hospital, and when she succumbed to cancer, um, and then my dad died of two. He had two massive heart attacks in his sleep. A lot of people say he died from a broken heart because he was pretty depressed that my mom was gone, and so that was a hard. This has been a hard year for me and my family, especially my sister and my brother. Probably them a little bit more than me because I was kind of prepared in the sense my mom sat and talked with me long hours about the inevitable because obviously we were going through the process of trying to um, get her healed and get her in the hospital and get some treatment. It was just way too late. There were just a lot of things that happened between doctors and doctors that didn't quite gel, didn't quite things didn't quite it just there's a lot. Like I can't even explain it because it still don't make sense to me how come some of these doctors that she had could not tell her how bad this was and why, because my mom was confused half the time, and I'm just like, why is they not clearing this up for her, because this doesn't make sense. So I can't I can't I can't speak really on that. I just don't know what was going on. So it was too late for her. So I was prepared for it, and I was able to um, be at peace when she went away. When my dad did, it was unexpected, and that just kind of took me from like, oh my God, really, what just happened? So that was really hard. I had a really hard time with that. Um, then on top of that, my daughter came. I hate when I talk. I feel like I got spit coming out of my mouth and I swallow. My daughter came to live with me, and which was something I was praying for years because obviously me and her mother did not see eye to eye on a lot of things. So it's been a fight. It's been a struggle. One time I just gave up fighting. I just got tired of fighting and trying to get everything to be equal and enforce the co-parent and all that stuff. So I just got tired, and I just like, you know what? I'm gonna leave it alone. I can't do nothing about it. Excuse me. The courts wasn't working with me for that, but eventually it came down to, just to be honest and be transparent, it came down to child services saying, "Hey, she's coming to live with you," and I'm like, "Oh, great." So I don't know what happened there. All I know was they called, and I went and grabbed her. Um, so now she's with me now, and I technically wasn't prepared for her to come um, directly to me, but luckily, but God, but God, He made a way where I can. He provided, and I really appreciate the fact that He was able to provide for me in order to obtain the things that I need to do. in order to take care of her. So I was kind of excited about that, and I'm just glad everything worked out. It was a hard road, but you know, look what happens. You know, when you're obedient, to God, you feel me? Feel me? When you're obedient to God. So I was able to get her and take care of her, get her in school. She was having little issues with doing homework, but we got it correct. We got it correct. I think I'm doing pretty good. I know in 2020 I want to be a better parent. I want to be a good parent. You know, it was kind of hard because I kind of missed her younger years. So now I'm trying to teach a young person how to be an adult who does not display the skills of being an adult, especially for the fact that she's 16 years old and she got pretty much a year and a half before she's grown, and she got to learn some concepts, huh? We don't play that up in here. See, the Webb family and the Wiley family, we don't do no lazy. We don't do no lazy. We don't do people who don't take personal responsibility for what they do, huh? Huh? Personal responsibility. I think the whole world need to know that. Personal responsibility, all this blaming and all this stuff that we doing in our politics. Personal responsibility. Huh? But I'm trying to work on being the best dad I can possibly be with my daughter. It's going to be pretty interesting year to see what I can do. It's actually an exciting thing for me. I can help shape a young lady into a grown woman. My daughter is going to be powerful, huh? Power. God, powerful. No, but I want to, you know what they do in the church. When something sounds good, she's going to be powerful. My God. But she going to be powerful, though. Because I don't play that, feel me? I make sure people are powerful. If I'm going to be out here being powerful, I need her to be out here being powerful, feel me? Because they're going to be like, man, that Wiley boy right here, he all right, right? So those are a couple things that I'm working on that. Besides my blogging and being more consistent on his lives and being more consistent with some of the things I'm doing, I'm excited about this new wave after wave, you know. I don't even know why I said that, but I was thinking of the song Wave After Wave. But I'm kind of excited about this new wave of things that I'm doing and getting going. So talk to me. What are you guys looking forward to in 2020? What is it that you guys want to accomplish? What do you want to think? Here's what I want to say. I liked, if you didn't get a chance to check out BB Talks, which is my cousin, Bridget Bardo. No, that's a family thing. Don't call her that. She'd probably get mad. But BB, if you go BB Talks on podcasts, you can go check out her podcast as well on those, on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and TuneIn. You can check out her podcast also on Anchor FM, and there's a couple other ones, but those are the main ones. Support her as well. She was talking about how we support, and the new thing I want to do in 2020 is I want to start supporting my close friends and my friends in their endeavors. Now, before y'all start flooding my social media, oh, were you going to support? Oh, yes, just sending me all these advertisements for stuff. I ain't trying to buy Lil Bookie's Corner CD if it ain't right. If you sending me a CD and it ain't recorded right, it ain't packaged right, I'm not buying that stuff. That's not support to me. Like, if you want me to support you, you give me the quality that my money is worth. That's what we want. If it's quality, and if you're serious about it, I'm in this thing of truly supporting in the things that I can do, not just with my finances, but also with my time. Sharing the things that I see people doing that are good. Like if somebody has a plug, like if somebody like me has a radio show or a blog and or stuff like that and podcast, why not push it? When you see me online, share it. Talk about it. When hey man, you check out my boy Chris on his podcast. Like I need that kind of support. I'm going to do that same thing to other people who are trying to be social media influencers. Um, and because to me, it's only right. Like we're only going to grow if we're pushing others, and I really believe in the spirit of giving. I like how and I'm gonna talk about this in another podcast in depth, but how other cultures tend to support their own and support one another. You don't have that a lot when in our African American community, Black community in America, we don't support one another. We're so quick to support everybody else. It was funny because earlier today I was talking in church. We were backstage after we got off done for worship, and I was talking to my friend, and we were talking about that. How we was literally talking about the idea of capitalism and stuff like that. But we were talking about how we all, most cultures buy into one another, and this is how their communities grow, and this is how um, um, the communities become economically sound in America and becoming a power. And we wondering why these people are in power. We always go outside and then we complain about those people. Like I give you this, we talk about billionaires and millionaires all the time, and we talk about how unfair it is and capitalism made them this way. And I'm sorry, but if I understand how economics work in capitalism, it's a supply and demand thing here. If you keep buying so billionaire stuff, then guess what? He gonna be a billionaire. So if you don't like billionaires and you don't want them to be a billionaire or millionaire, then why you keep buying from them? What you claim, you complaining about them, but you still buying from them. That don't make sense to me. So if you don't want so and so Zuckerberg to be a millionaire or a billionaire, stop soliciting his product. I mean, you mad, but you want to tax him. But you the one giving him your money. He not taking your money. He didn't rob you for your money, but you gave it to him. So I'm thinking like, yo, I've been giving my money to some of these big companies for years and years and years. I ain't getting nothing in return. They don't really help my community. You don't see Facebook in my community building up some stuff. But we got so and so over here, or we don't see Johnson and Johnson soap building up my community. I don't even know who the CEO of Johnson and Johnson is. So but we got so and so over here who's hustling, trying to make it and stuff, making good quality product soap, and we can't go buy soap from that person. We all use soap. So I'm trying to take the things that I use regular, and then we complain, oh, it's pricey. They cost too much. But yet you'll go buy so and so stuff, and it costs just as much. You want that person to give you a discount because he not Johnson and Johnson, but you gonna buy Johnson and Johnson. That doesn't make sense for me for the same price, Or you're gonna buy from them for a little bit extra, but with Johnson and Johnson, the little extras on the taxes. I don't know. To me, it doesn't make sense. So I'm trying to put my dollars more into my community. You know what? It may not return to me, but somebody got to start it. Somebody got to start supporting one another. I want to see black business. I want to see Black Wall Street again. I want to see Soul City again. I said this too earlier, and this comes with the support thing. It was funny because, and here's a lot of, and I know this is getting into a little historical politics, and I know people are going to like kind of get on me about this, but black folks in America were more successful during the times of segregation and post Jim Crow than they are now. There were more graduates out of college post integration, before integration, than there is now. And people was like, oh, no, no, no. Go look at it. It's a real statistic. There were more graduates, black graduates out of college. Now, mind you, they had a hard time getting in some of these big colleges or whatever because of segregation and all that stuff. But so what? But that didn't mean nothing because these people were still getting a good education and becoming doctors and lawyers and having all these things. And you know why they were becoming these good doctors and lawyers and good people, nurses and stuff? It's because they had no choice but to be that way because they couldn't use, in a sense, the white people stuff. And the funny thing is, when integration happened, we saw a decline in black professionals in a lot of these things. Now we got a bunch of sports people and entertainers. We're back to the whole Sambo idea. All we do is dance. Okay, the dog and the cat is fighting. Sorry, guys. All we do is dance and fight all day. So, I mean, dance and fight and play sports. So we back to entertainment monkeys. I'm sorry, I just got to say, I know we're good at entertainment, but it seems like that's all we aspire to now. You barely see people wanting to come out of college being doctors, lawyers, and stuff like that. And it's funny because they just did a statistic about that, how there's not a lot of African Americans graduating from law school and stuff like that. That also has something to do with affirmative action in colleges and stuff, which there's a lawsuit going on about that, and that's another whole topic. But I just want to say we were more successful in those times of segregation. And what we don't realize is that, funny thing is, Dr. Martin Luther King never fought for integration. That was where the Democrats, the Dixiecrats, or the white Democrats, not trying to be president, the ones that were prejudiced. They're the ones that integrated. People was like, Chris, that ain't right. That don't even make sense. Go read your history. There's a reason why the Democrats decided to say, we're going to help fight for integration. It wasn't because they liked us and wanted to flip and wanted to help us. It was because it was a way to put us back into a sense of control. If you look at the whole power structure of everything, just like welfare became a power structure, just like, hey! I'm sorry, the dog and cat is fighting again. But, so if you look at the power structure, you can kind of see that whole idea of how welfare did nothing but make us dependent. Affirmative action in schools put unqualified. They put unqualified black students in a university where they could not compete, like because we weren't reading or we didn't have certain level of education, so we couldn't keep up with that. That's not helping people. What they should have done was put more money into the schools so that we could get the education and earn our way into these universities. But that's a whole nother topic. But if you look at all these programs, the so-called that was supposed to help us, it didn't help us. The welfare state incentivized broken homes in the black community. And now broken homes, fatherless homes was up 80% in the black community. It wasn't like that back in the 60s and before, in the 50s. It wasn't like that. We had a strong family structure, and we do know, if you guys look at statistics, wealth and success is directly connected to a two-parent home. So we can talk about those statistics, and we can go through that on a different time. We're talking about 2020. So, saying all that, in 2020, I'm trying to, instead of just only talking about the things that I think is wrong in our society, I want to be about changing them things as well, and showing people a different way. Because some people, they would defend their what's they called, their welfare to the days long. They'll defend their their government dependency all day long, and act like it's so great, like universal health care and all that. I'm sorry, now I'm getting political. Universal health care, not a good idea. And anybody who has half a brain can look at them numbers and be like, wait a minute, something ain't right. Who gonna pay for this? Wait a minute. That means I gotta And if you working for your money, and you working 9 to 5, living check to check, you ain't trying to give them no money. Not no extra money for somebody who don't want to work. Mm-mm. We have enough money to take care of the ones who can't work. We don't need to add any more to the plate. But that's a whole nother thing. We gotta start pushing um, self responsibility. So 2020, I'm gonna be doing that. I really hope that you guys have been inspired by my zeal to want to help others and you know push this idea of togetherness and helping one another. I want you guys to kind of do the same. So I would really appreciate the idea of our communities coming together. And that's not to say that we're just trying to segregate over again or be racist or anything. But I'm sorry, as a group of people, we should be able to come together and say, okay, what are our ideas? What are our values? What is it that we want to do with our money? And then go into the rest of the world and say, here, present that. Because that's what every other community do. The Asian, the Jewish, the Greeks, the Germans, the Italians, they all come together in their groups, and then they create this in a sense a super PAC of businesses, and then they're able to be financially valuable in our community and our society. And this is why they get a lot done in politics. And we've had so many years of not and hoping that some great white hope or some great hope that is a white hope is going to come help us. And that mentality has to stop in our community. They're not going to help you. They don't want to help you. So stop asking them for help. Why we keep going to the same people who discriminated against us, as we say, to get help? Help yourself. We have laws, and we're in a place now where we are able to get the things that we need. Obviously there's still institutions and people who run, I should say not institutions, but people who run institutions who discriminate based on a lot of different things, not just black, but for a lot of things. If you conservative, some places if you're liberal, some places, there's always something that somebody's not going to like about you, and they're going to discriminate against you. But we not in that same time. We don't live in the same time where people are just solely discriminating, where we have systems in place. And y'all can disagree with me now, but we don't have systematic racism like people are saying, because nobody can point that out. If you can point it out without pointing to something that's in the past and have been abolished. Now, you want to talk about mindsets. Me and Bridget has had this argument a lot. You want to talk about mindsets and how people have been programmed. That's different. That's not a system. That's just people don't want to. That's people set in their ways. Just because you've been programmed some way doesn't mean you can't be reprogrammed. Just because this computer has been programmed somewhere doesn't mean I can't wipe it and reprogram it. That's the whole point. It might take some work, but it can be reprogrammed, and so can you. So if people have, you say systematic racism is based on people's mindset, that's not systematic, because it has to be a system that does the same thing over and over again. And each person who has a racist tendency is just different. Like, you have cultures of racism, yeah, just like skinhead. That's not a system. That's a culture of racism. So I think we should use the right words when we're talking about racism. But within society, we don't have laws on the books, or you don't see a lot of companies. I haven't seen any company who has specific rules saying that they're going to discriminate. You might have people in that company that discriminate against people, but there's not a system that tells them to do that. A lot of that is just preference, just like we would prefer our own over somebody else. Like, that happens all the time. And if you think that's discrimination, no, that's just I prefer my own. Because at the end of the day, if I got $1 million business and brother so-and-so over here wants to come work for me, but my brother can do the same thing. Matter of fact, brother so-and-so might be better than my brother, but that's my brother. I'm going to bring my brother in. You feel me? Because that's family. Like, you're going to take care of family first. Every family does that. So when it's not family, then it becomes cousins. And when it's cousins, it becomes your community. Like, I'm going to prefer my community. That's what it's supposed to be. over others. So why are we tripping? That's not discrimination. That just means I prefer this person. I know him. You know, I know who he is. I know his character. I gotta sit here and get to know you. You might not even work. You might be crazy. But anyways, so that's what 2020 is gonna look like for me. Hey, comment below. Let me know what your 2020 is gonna look like. I want to hear your things. I'll be talking about this a little bit later too. Maybe after 2020. I want to start. You guys to start engaging with me a little bit more, and I'll engage you back at you. So I'm gonna end this live, and I hope you guys have a great day. And we out here in these streets. Feel me?